Okay, good morning everyone. This is Rudy. I hope everyone's doing well this morning. Hey, I just wanted to share some stories and some thoughts that are going on in my head. And here goes. So the title of this video is Don't Ask for Forgiveness for Things That You Didn't Do. And another way to put it is don't let other people ask for forgiveness on your behalf when you didn't do anything wrong. And let me tell you why this is in my thoughts and what happened. So many of you know I go to a black conservative church, and these people are the most godly people I've ever met. They know the Word of God better than anyone I've ever met, and they teach me quite a bit. And I don't go to this church because it's got a black preacher. I go to this church because he's the best damn preacher in all of Dallas. And so I learn a tremendous amount from my church, and I'm very, very blessed to have found it. And my wife and I try to be there every time the doors are opened. We might have a little disagreement on pre-trib versus post-trib, but hopefully my preacher will forgive me for being a post-tribber. But that's how I believe, and I'm a staunch post-trib guy. But anyway, normally Pastor Stefan Broden gives a sermon, and he gives powerhouse sermons. The man can sing, the man can give a sermon, the man knows the Bible, he can teach the Word of God better than anybody I've ever seen, and I just feel very blessed to be sitting out in the congregation when he's talking. But this past Sunday, he had a white guy come in and give a sermon, and his name was Lou. You guys may know him. He's supposed to be nationally recognized, a very famous powerhouse speaker, Lou something, and he gave a powerhouse sermon on anti-abortion. And it was a great sermon on abortion and how we need to stop killing our babies, and the blood of 54 million babies will have a retribution. And God's going to be having a day of reckoning for all of the babies that we've killed, and I agree with that. But there was a part of the sermon where I thought he was off, and I wanted to share that. And I don't mean to be critical, but I just got to share what's on my mind. It's not that I didn't like his sermon, because overall I thought it was great, and I'm anti-abortion too, and I believe that there will be a day of reckoning for the 54 million babies that have been killed. But there was a portion of the sermon where he refers to a dream that either he had or a friend had, and keep in mind that I'm at a black conservative church and we got a white man speaking, and here's the story that he told. He said that, I don't know if it was his dream, but he was relaying a dream, right? He said that someone had a dream where they were going to go pick up Martin Luther King Jr. in a car. And Martin Luther King Jr. was walking out from the house down the sidewalk, and he was carrying a bag. And the bag was a big white bag with black handles. It was a big white bag with black handles. And before Martin Luther King gets in the car, he starts shaking this bag, just shaking it, right? And it's a black handled bag, but it's a white bag with black handles. And he just shook it, and then he threw it on the ground. And the guy that was picking him up went to go pick up the bag, and Martin Luther King stops him, grabs him, and says, "Don't pick up that bag." And then they get in the car and drive off. And the guy was supposed to, like, what does that dream mean? What's God trying to tell me through this dream? And and this guy is a very powerful speaker, gets very emotional. He was getting very climactic, and he says that bag represents the baggage that black people are carrying around from bitterness about slavery. And he says we need, and he mentioned we, like all the white people, all the white people. He says, he's talking to the black congregation. He says all the black people need to forgive all the white people for all the bitterness we put on you and all the problems of slavery. And, if we don't get past that, we're going to lose our nation, both of us, the black people and the white people. And it got a standing ovation. I mean, it was like, the crowd went crazy. And, but I think it was a powerful dream, but the part where he said, we need the black people to forgive us all white people for all the bitterness we put on you regarding slavery. Well, okay, some of you ain't gonna like what I'm about to say, and I'm not one that's ever been shy about saying my feelings and controversial stuff, but I ain't ain't never done anything to a black person as far as slavery or treated any black people bad as far as I can remember in my whole life because they were black. I went to a black high school. It was over 90% black, H. Grady Spruce. It was over 90% black, 5% Hispanic, 5% white. And I got along with most of my high school people. But I felt a little bit uncomfortable with this white man up there saying, you know, the black people need to forgive all the white people for all the things we did to you regarding slavery and all the bitterness we laid on you. Well, you know, that's why I don't think that people should ask for forgiveness for things that they didn't do. I don't know what's in this man's heart that was speaking, right? But if he hasn't done anything to black people, then he shouldn't be asking for forgiveness for it. And you might say, well, you know, just go along with the flow and, you know, it's not really that big a deal. And just let him say it because it makes everybody feel good. And, you know, there's probably some black people that do probably feel very bitter towards the white race, right? And I'm not saying there aren't some white people that do need to be forgiven for their racism. I know that there are, right? But you need to forgive those specific white people. And I would say it's a minority because I've been around white people my whole life, and it's very rare that I ever run into a full-blown racist white person, okay? So for him to just make a blanket statement, right, and says the black people need to forgive the white people for all the things we did to you for slavery and all the bitterness we put on you. Well, hold on just a second. I haven't done anything. And I would say that the vast majority of white people haven't done anything regarding slavery and putting bitterness on black people. And okay, now I've said my piece, right, on how I feel as a white person. And let me turn this thing around. And I'm going to say this is for you, my black Christian conservative brothers and sisters. If you're listening to this video and you're black, let me share some things with you why this is important for you. I believe that Barack Obama represents himself as a black man. And there's going to come a time when his evil will be exposed. And the whole world is going to be just, when righteous people get control of this world again, there's going to be an outpouring of wrath towards Obama and his blackness, right? I'm not saying it's right, but that's going to happen, okay? And 99% of black people voted for Obama, right? And so there's going to be this huge outpouring of wrath against Obama and thus black people who are going to be seen as having perpetrated this evil socialist liberal agenda that's ruining America and our financial system and our social system and everything else. And if you as a black person didn't support Obama and you've been speaking out against him, are you going to let a black person get up and say you need to forgive all of us black people, you know, for what Obama did? Do you understand how repulsive that's going to make you, right? Because you didn't have anything to do with what Obama did. You've probably been speaking out against it. You probably don't like Obama's policies on abortion, on his liberal policies with gay homosexual marriage and the financial destruction that he's bringing about. And so if Al Sharpton gets up as a representative of the black race and say, please forgive us, please forgive all of us black people for what Obama did, are you going to like that? No, you're not going to like that because you didn't do anything wrong. Obama is the one who did something wrong, and Obama is the one that needs to be held responsible for it. And besides that, his mama was white. So don't let anybody convince you that he's black because his mama is white. Okay? So the point I'm trying to make is I want individuals to be held individually accountable for the evil that they do. And that goes for not only held accountable for the evil, but when we're passing out forgiveness, you give forgiveness to the people that have asked for it and have repented. But you don't give forgiveness to a blanket group of people, right? Just because you got some self-righteous guy up there saying, forgive all of us white people or forgive all us black people. No, how about you forgive the people that had sin in their hearts and you forgive the people that actually are repenting for their sins. But we need to be careful in making blanket statements. So anyway, I don't know if this made sense to anybody, but I wanted to share my thoughts. Don't ask for forgiveness for things that you didn't do. And don't let people ask for forgiveness in your behalf. And if you're the one that's given forgiveness, don't give it to people unless they've repented for their sins and they're the ones who actually perform the sin, right? We got too many people going out there saying, I'm sorry, and there's nothing to be sorry about. I'm not sorry personally for slavery and the injustice to black people, because I'm saying that in my personal life, I've never treated anybody wrong because of their color that I can remember. If I've done it and I don't remember, then I pray to God that he will forgive me. But it's not part of my being. It's not part of my makeup. I treat everybody individually. And so I don't like it when people ask, to forgive all white people for slavery, because I had anything to do with slavery. I never owned any slaves. My dad didn't own any slaves, and I don't feel like I've contributed to putting any bitterness in black people. I've worked for everything I've got in my life, and I know a lot of black people have too. And so when this thing gets turned around and the wrath of the world comes at Obama and his blackness, I'm not going to expect to hold all the black people accountable for what Obama did. I'm going to hold Obama accountable for what Obama did, and you'll be glad that I hold the views that I do about personal accountability and not race accountability. You'll be glad that I hold these views at the time when it turns around, right? You might think I'm a stick in the mud right now, and you might think I'm a little jackass for not accepting responsibility for racism. But when this thing turns around and people get mad at black people for what Obama did, you'll be glad that I hold these views, because I ain't going to hold black people responsible for what Obama did. I'm going to hold Obama responsible. But anyway, that's all I got to say. I don't know if this made any sense, but that's all I got to say. Have a great day, and God bless every one of you.